Good day and welcome to SCO BRICS Insight, where we bring you the latest news, information and analysis on what's really going on in the world of the BRICS. Today I want to talk about Russia's non-resource exports and how they're soaring thanks to sanctions. Now, at the end of 2023, the Russian budget received over 1 trillion rubles, which is about $10.5 billion, from the increase of non-resource and non-energy exports. Now, this is an impressive 85% surge, and it's given a strong financial boost to the country. Now, what products fall under this export classification, and what are the reasons behind other countries purchasing more non-oil and gas commodity goods from Russia? And is there untapped potential for growth? Now, non-resource and non-energy exports, or NRNE, comprise mainly of agricultural produce, which is grains, meat, poultry, vegetables, fruit, etc., chemicals, fertilizers, plastics, cast iron, steel, non-ferrous and precious metals. Now there's also included semi-finished products of a low level of complexity, things like flour, grains, vegetable oils, machinery, pharmaceuticals, household chemicals, clothing and footwear. Now, the significance of non-oil and gas exports from Russia have increased due to the implementation of limitations and caps on oil and petroleum prices by Western countries like the EU and the USA and their member countries. Now, consequently, during the first half of 2023, budget revenues from non-oil and gas sources actually rose by 19.8%, which was much larger than the revenue growth generated by Russia's oil and gas industry. Now, this indicates that the proportion of non-oil and gas income in the Russian Federation it now stands at approximately 30%. And that's despite that last year oil and gas revenues were over 41% of the budget, according to Vladimir Chernov, who's an analyst at Freedom Finance Global. Now, last year, non-resource and non-energy exports, as well as related industries, generated over $44.5 billion for the Russian budget. And that's according to the General Director of the Russian Export Center, Veronika Nikishina. Now, she added that these industries are not only important as export markets, but they also provide over 5 million jobs, which accounts for about 7% of the total employment of the active population. So therefore, in some way, the West, with its sanctions, has assisted Russia in overcoming its so-called raw materials curse. However, the lack of available energy resources is often deemed by certain countries as a curse that rely on importing them from other nations. Countries like the US has recently shifted their focus from being a net importer to being an energy resource exporter, and that's thanks to its shale revolution. However, Europe's situation is a lot less fortunate in this regard. It's a major importer of all types of fossil fuels from oil, gas, coal, and since February 2022, Russia has not made public full details of the value of its exports and its quality. But I mean, under the sanctions, Russian exporters are discovering that Europe has alternatives to Europe for their goods and their services now. For example, suppliers of agricultural products and those in power engineering for overseas nuclear energy projects are full of confidence. Now, this is supported by Ekaterina Novikova, who's a professor at the Russian economic universities. She says that metal products account for about 25% of the non-resource, non-energy export market, with chemical products and mechanical engineering products accounting for about 19% each, with the growing agro and industrial complex claiming a 20% share. Novikova also notes that the reorientation of trade interaction from the west to the east is a crucial starting point for Russian exports. I mean, not only did Russia replace the lost Western markets, but it also expanded its exports to numerous friendly countries across Asia, the Middle East, Africa, and into Latin America. Now, obviously, China is a major example. It imported a record-breaking amount of agricultural products from Russia. I mean, obviously, leveraging its large population and boosting the growth of the Russian food agricultural market to their people. I mean, primary exports to Russia to China will obviously be natural resources, which account for about 70% of all the Russian exports. Nevertheless, the exports of agricultural products to China are showing a huge rise. I mean, according to the Agro Export Center, Russia shipped over 5.5 million tons of agricultural products to China in the first 8 months of 2023. I figure that's 2.7 times greater than the period the previous year. Now, in terms of value, these deliveries have almost doubled in value, and this makes China a really large purchaser of Russian foodstuffs. I mean, we're talking about billions. We're talking about around 10 billion, and by 2030, we're certainly looking at around 15. Now, that's going from which around 5.1 billion in 2019. So, as you can see, it's quite a market. Now, Russia's also expanding its trade in agriculture and foodstuffs with Iran, the United Arab Emirates, and other Asian and African countries. But within Asia, for example, Vietnam buys a huge amount of pork, and Russia sells them lots of pork. And it's also a major grains and fertilizer supplier to both North and Sub-Saharan African countries. And they buy in huge volumes. Now, the expansion of Russia's non-commodity exports is linked to the help and assistance is provided by the exporters of different types of equipment and machinery. And they help the technologically advanced products in the country as part of the import substitution strategy. Now, all of this just shows that Russia is a technically advanced nation, and it's undoubtedly going forward to follow through on all of its plans to diversify its markets away from Europe into Asia, Latin America, and the global south. You know, it's enhanced, diversified, and it's involving more Russian regions in the amount of products and the linkages and how they do things, you know. I mean, at this regard, Russia is just at the beginning of its focus to broaden its trading links with amicable nations like members of the BRICS and the global south. And they're really waking up to the fact that they can export with confidence to all of these markets, and Europe was not the be-all and end-all. Now, there's obviously there may not be the same level of growth, but they will continue to increase. I mean, last year's 85% surge was from a low-level base, but even if you take the new base, 10% or 15% is actually quite a high level and will account for multi-billions of dollars or dollar equivalent anyway. Now, obviously, products that Russia is a major leader in and will continue. I mean, with Europe having problems producing fertilizer, it won't be exporting fertilizers around the world. So that market for Russia will continue to grow, and that will continue to supply the agricultural countries of the world. Now, as far as pork is concerned, China is about to buy large volumes of pork as Russia has now signed an agreement with them. And there's no reason why Russia will not increase its grain exports because its crop yields are growing, and the Western harvests are falling due to the fact that they don't have the same level of fertilizer. So You know, the potential for Russia continues to grow in the non-resource sector, being foodstuffs, metals, etc. So, all in all, things are looking very, very positive for Russia in the markets of the other BRICS members and the countries of the global south and Latin America. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. And have a clearer now understanding about Russia's exports of non-resource products around the world. Thank you, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and do visit the website where there's lots of articles similar to talking about what's really going on in there. So it's SCOBRICSinsight.com, and I'll see you all again soon. Thank you for joining me today, and I'll see you again soon. Goodbye.